Deserts appear to be lonely, arid places, home to the most unfortunate animals on the planet. But nothing could be further from the truth. Dryness defines many places on Earth. In total, more than 20% of the Earth's surface is a desert, and an extra 15% is semi-arid. Its apparent simplicity belies a whole host of secrets. Although they may at first appear similar, all deserts are different. But deserts also have things in common. All of them share an unsuspected protagonist: water. Although it appears to be absent, everything revolves around it, its scarcity and necessity. It's a highly prized treasure. Despite its dryness, nature has made the desert home to some of its most extraordinary creatures. Only the most resistant and adaptable are able to live here, and there are many of them. The Sahara is the largest desert in the world, and one of the driest and most varied. This is where the thorny-tailed lizard lives, which is one of a kind. Normally, lizards hunt small animals, but the thorny-tailed lizard lives off the sparse plants which grow in these areas. In general, reptiles are well adapted to dry environments, but in this case, it might be that its unusual vegetarian diet gives it the water it needs to survive. The sun is fierce in deserts, but the thorny-tailed lizard needs its energy. When it basks in the sun, it presses its body into the ground and puffs out its chest in order to increase its surface area and warm itself. Afterwards, it goes in search of more food. But the heart of the desert is far less hospitable. There is almost no shade, and a dry wind sweeps constantly over the Earth's surface. Even here, there is water. The problem is finding it. Palm trees are a clear sign of moisture. A clump of palm trees and a solitary well provide a small oasis. The water from the well is enough for nomads, both human and animal. This is where we find the symbol of the desert. In the Sahara, the dromedary can withstand temperatures of nearly 60 degrees centigrade, the highest on the planet, a strict diet of disgusting meals, and up to 10 months without drinking a drop of water. To save water, they urinate very little, and their feces are almost completely dehydrated. In fact, they are extremely small for an animal which weighs over half a ton. Close by, in the shade of the palms, live the discreet Saharan sparrows, which are just as tough and resistant as the dromedaries, and their droppings are part of their daily diet. Saharan sparrows are also nomads in the desert, flocking to small oases and camps. Their milky color is very useful for reflecting the heat of the sun and preventing overheating. The palm trees provide shelter and materials for the nest which they build there. During the hottest part of the day, when the temperature is close to 60 degrees centigrade, they stay in the shade of the leaves where it's just 30 degrees. Many creatures do not have access to the water of the oasis, yet they live in the middle of the desert. How is that possible? The gerbil, for example, spends the day buried in its burrow in a cool, moist environment. It only lives at night, far from the sun and the heat. This skillful night creature never drinks. It gets all the water its body needs by digesting its food, whether that is plants or insects. Before the sun comes out again, the gerbil goes back into hiding until the following night. The scarcity of rain is something which affects all deserts. In some areas, it never rains. But they differ in the amount of humidity available. It seems contradictory that the driest areas on Earth are located so close to the sea, although often they benefit from sea spray. The dew that forms in the night evaporates when the sun appears on the horizon. Water accumulates in broad daylight on fine blades, and it's not easy to access it. Cacti, which originated in the American desert, are living barrels full of water. They survive on reserves of liquid, which means they can last months or even years without a drop of water. Despite their defenses, cacti play host to a range of creatures which pollinate its flowers, nest in its branches, or use it as a lookout post. The fruit of the cacti quench thirst and satisfy the hunger of a wide variety of animals. The rock squirrel gets most of the water it needs from the seeds, flowers, and fruits of the cactus. It is a restless rodent, which skips about as if the rocks were burning its paws. Eating and chasing around, there's nothing so good as a siesta in the shade. Some places may seem inhospitable and desolate, but there is always somebody who lives there. The vast deserts are also home to the Californian pronghorn. These are the fastest herbivores on the planet, with a speed record exceeding 86 kilometers per hour. The reproductive habits of the pronghorns are marked by the scarcity of water. The pronghorns of Lower California are not territorial like their northern relatives. In this vast wasteland, They go freely in search of food, and the males only compete to keep groups of females in their custody. There is no point defending a territory that is pure desert. The lack of water and the excessive heat define life in many deserts. But sometimes a miracle occurs. And the consequences are instantly visible. The oases fill with water, and the desert explodes with fruit and colors. Now there is plenty of water and food for everyone. But there are places where it is almost always cloudy. This is what happens in the cold deserts of Patagonia. Here, the aridity and cold temperatures condition the landscapes and their inhabitants. Patagonia is a vast area with a sparse covering of thorny shrubs and coarse grasses. The degree of humidity is higher than in the deserts, but rainfall is scarce, and the continual winds dry the earth quickly. In Patagonia, water always seems to be temporary. These endless moors and the foothills of the Andes are the kingdom of another type of camel. An elegant, stylized, and fast-moving camel, the guanaco. Guanacos, unlike dromedaries, have a warm layer of wool to protect them from the low temperatures. Like its relative, it eats plants with little nutritional value, but it knows how to extract its liquid and convert it into reserves of fat. Its energy reserves mean it can go for long periods of time without eating or drinking during droughts. It's important to make the most of times of plenty, which is why its young are born at the exact moment when the vegetation is at its most lush. Burrowing parrots also enjoy this period of plenty. They arrive from the north after the brief rains of the season and go through the thickets eating the fruit. Unlike most steppe birds, the parrots make a great show of their colors and screech constantly. Their colonies flourish in the ravines where water still flows from the streams, but which will soon dry up. In such places, it's easy to see why steppe birds are good walkers. The lesser rhea has taken its adaptation to the semi-desert plains to extremes. Rheas need firm ground to walk on and an open space so that they can see their enemies. This way, they can run off at the slightest sign of danger. Families of rheas, led by the father, run across the plains, braving cold and droughts, and sharing these landscapes with a surprising variety of plants and animals. As strange as it may seem, an unsuspected variety of creatures inhabit the desert. All of them are experts in finding and storing every molecule of liquid. Here, storing water, that rare liquid treasure, is a constant challenge. And after all, that is the key to survival and the key of life.